That's the gasoline that's thrown on the fire. You have to create, the UFC can throw as much gasoline on a campsite, with the rocks and if there's no fire, nothing happens. They can pour tons and tons and tons and tons of gasoline on it. If there's no fire, it's irrelevant. You have to create the fire. You have to be the person. You have to be the fire yourself, and then they will pour the gasoline on it to throttle it. It's not their job to create the fire because they can't if they wanted to. That's not how it works. They're not fire starters. They're gasoline. I just filmed this video. I just realized that I had not turned my amp on, and so it captured none of the audio. So we're going to redo this because we're going to talk about the Islam Makhachev accusation at Dana White that he's not properly promoting him, that Dana and the UFC are not promoting Islam Makhachev going into UFC 284. I had some incredible takes on that video. I'm going to try to recapture the magic. But before I get into all that, because there's some, first of all, Dana shared some shocking statistics about this event. And I shared some, what I would say are strong takes about the validity of what Islam is saying and what Dana responded with, etc. And I want to talk to you guys about that in a second. But first, I wanted to say this. Thank you guys. Thank you guys so much, man. Genuinely, thank you so much. I'm laying off the subscribe, like, hey, subscribe to the channel, but I'm not doing that for a while. As a thank you to all of you guys who have subscribed to the channel and supported me all along. I appreciate you guys so much. Thank you. Also, me and MMA Guru are launching a new podcast together. The first episode is going to be on Friday. It's going to be a live stream. It's called MMA on Fire. I'm going to make that live stream actually right now, and I'll put it up so you guys know when it's coming. And that is what it is. I'm also going to do a video on, I'm going to do like a weekly Jesse on Everything video on this channel now. That's going to be like an hour long. It's going to cover all the topics that I would have covered. And it's going to be amazing. I mean, obviously no politics and nothing that's going to get me in trouble. But we're going to talk about some deep fake, S tapes, deep fake, dude. We're talking about that. We're talking about this Eliza Blue drama. Lots of things that are going to be really fun. The NFL stuff. It's going to be good. But anyway, yeah, so we're going to jump into this video though, and I'm going to recreate the magic because I completely disproved one of these guys' response. But first, I'm going to show you guys the sponsor of this channel really quick. Give it a look, and then we will rock and roll. Geology is a 16-time award-winning skin, hair, and body care company recognized in Men's Health, GQ, Spy, Esquire, and Ask Men Grooming Awards. Geology creates simple and effective skincare and hair care routines customized just for you with ingredients that are proven to work. Obviously, their products are built around just a handful of powerful, proven ingredients that have been trusted by dermatologists for decades. Now, my experience with Geology is I started using their skincare routine as well as their hair and all that, and look at how well groomed I am. You were thinking to yourself right now, I wish I was as well groomed as Jesse on Fire. What's his secret? Now you know. Skincare is science. It shouldn't feel like a gamble. All of Geology's products are made with scientifically proven ingredients trusted by dermatologists and cosmetic chemists. Not only is Geology the best in the skincare game, but they have also released a ton of new amazing hair, body, and other skin products. Whatever you need, Geology has you covered, from their affordable skin revitalizing vitamin C, E, and ferulic acid serum to their shampoo killing co-wash to their brand new body care line of body wash and deodorant, which honestly have some of the best scents ever. Right now, for a limited time, they are hooking you up with an absolutely insane offer. Use my code ONFIRE70 or scan the QR code on the screen, and they will give you an exclusive 70% off their award-winning skincare trial set. On top of that, they are giving you an exclusive bonus offer on one of their brand new skin, hair, or body products of your choice when you add it to your trial. This is one of the best offers you will see. Get it before it's gone. All right, that's what it is. That's what it is. Thank you guys for looking at that. Now let's talk about this video, or what the topic of this video, which is Dana White, Islam Makhachev, what Islam said. Okay, so bottom line, Islam has said basically that he's facing Volkanovski in UFC 284, and he's saying that the UFC is not promoting him in this. They're not promoting the fight, and they're not promoting him personally, saying that all the promotional stuff is all about Volkanovski and XYZ, etc. Blah 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 blah. Okay, so Dana responded and just said, "Yeah, that's not true. First of all, I've talked to Islam. Who interviewed him? Who translated him? I mean, the guy speaks Russian. It's all taken out of context." So the first thing Dana said is, "I don't even believe that this is what Islam actually said, because I've spoken to Islam, and I don't even think that this is what he said." But in the event that he did say that, here are some of the stats that he shared that were, to me, very very shocking, because I don't know. To me, it does seem like it's been a little bit heavy on the Volkanovski side. Now, obviously, everyone's seen the clip of Dana forgetting Islam's name. I give him a pass to that. I have actually, on a live stream, forgotten Volkanovski's name before. Now, obviously, I know who Alexander Volkanovski is, but sometimes you just space, dude. we've got a lot going on. People, like we've got a lot going on. Sometimes you just kind of like, and then, and it just won't come to you, dude. Like it just won't come to you. Dana should have just been like, and my brain has just melted down. Who is Volkanovski fighting against? It could have made a joke out of it. It doesn't matter. He obviously knows who Islam Makhachev is, and I don't think that that's necessarily relevant in this story. But here are some of the stats that he shared, and then I'm going to talk about Islam's accusation and the validity or not validity of what he said, right? So what Dana said is, he said, first of all, he lives in Dagestan. What does he know about the promotion of the fight? He doesn't know anything. It's going to be one of the top 5 biggest fights of all time. Now, one question I had about that is, how are you measuring that? Biggest in what statistic, like what metric is measuring biggest of all time? Because top 5 biggest fights of all time, that I have a hard time believing. But again, I don't have any idea what metric he's using to qualify that. But he said, first of all, the event is sold out, right? You couldn't get a ticket if you wanted to get a ticket in Perth. And this thing is trending right now to be the biggest pay-per-view event in Australia, which is like 6% behind the Conor McGregor versus Dustin Poirier 3 fight. That is surprising to me, But that said, that's because it's Conor, right? There's no comparison when Conor is fighting versus someone who's not Conor fighting, Conor's fighting, it is a completely different ballgame. Nothing else really necessarily matters. But that said, the fact that it is trending that high is surprising to me. But I mean, that's good. This is a champion on champion fight. This should be an enormous fight. Enormous, right? When you had Makhachev against Charles Oliveira, that was probably the 2 most accomplished guys to ever fight at the peak of their careers, with 2 win streaks like they had. This is something totally different. This is champion on champion where, like think about it like this. Okay. This is separate from the promotional stuff. I didn't even say this in the other video. So we're getting completely original content from me listening to myself a second ago. But think about this, dude. When you think about champion on champion fights, okay, normally that means that one of the champions is not marketable. So this does come back to this, okay? There are no exceptions to this thus far, right? Exclude this one. I'm not talking about this one, even though I don't think that this is an exception to this rule. But if you take this one out, what's the first champ on champ fight? You got Conor McGregor coming up to fight Eddie Alvarez. Eddie Alvarez was not marketable. Eddie Alvarez had beat Rafael dos Anjos, who was originally who Conor was supposed to fight, who also was not a very marketable champion at the time. You had Daniel Cormier go up to fight Stipe Miocic. We don't need to go over that again. Everyone knows Stipe had knocked out every single person, and he still was not a driving force behind selling pay-per-views, so he wasn't marketable, right? We're going to talk about that again in a second, too. Then you had Israel Adesanya going up to fight Jan Blachowicz. Jan Blachowicz, obviously not a driving force behind selling pay-per-views. And unless and then you have Amanda Nunes against Cyborg, and that's a whole other thing where Dana didn't like Cyborg. Cyborg was basically the only person at 45 that he built the entire division for her. So if Amanda was able to knock her out, right, then he would just basically shut down 45, which is kind of what he did. He throws a 45 fight in every once in a while for Amanda because she's the GOAT, and that's that. But like, there was no big risk of there's never anyone who is not marketable going to a new weight class to fight someone who is marketable. Does that make sense? Okay. So like, and the one that I forgot, when TJ Dillashaw went to go fight Henry Cejudo was not marketable then. Okay. Cejudo was not marketable then. He became Triple C in the buildup for that fight. That's very relevant because it shows what the UFC thinks of these fighters. It means like, they're not going to risk having a really, really marketable fighter, fighter that's the champion of a certain division. At least historically, they don't risk that unless they just don't risk that. They just don't risk that. They give the person the shot who is the marketable fighter, because if they lose, they're still a champion in the other division, right? Like in this fight, Volkanovski is not risking anything. Okay. Islam is, Volkanovski's not. So right there, you already know that they seem to value Volkanovski more than Islam. That said, it's also a thing where like Volkanovski has run out of people to fight, and there's not really anyone that's like really kind of like in line at 55 right now anyway. Okay. But bottom line is this, dude. Okay. Bottom line is this. Has Islam Makhachev made himself a marketable fighter? Yes or no? The answer is no. You don't need to answer. Okay. Because here's the thing. This entire idea that the UFC is not promoting me, I have a problem with that. Okay. Like I have a problem with that. And the reason for that is because it's 2023 and it's provably not the way that this works, right? Like, it's provably not the way this works. Now, in one, like, you could say a thing like, as an example, if you're Francis Ngannou and you're going into UFC 270 and you're in the middle of a contract dispute and you wanted to see what it looks like when the UFC really doesn't want to promote you, that's the one you look at, because he would not sign a new contract. Okay. So the UFC, not only, of course, they don't want to promote him. Why would they promote, why would they promote Francis and get as many eyeballs on him as possible when he is openly telegraphing that what he wants to do is take any of the attention that he gets and take it outside of the UFC so he can use that against the UFC? Okay. Now, you might not think that Francis going and fighting Tyson Fury or fighting Deontay Wilder or fighting whoever is a direct challenge to UFC, but you're wrong. Okay. Any combat sports event is competition to the UFC. So if Francis is saying, no, I don't want to re-sign with you guys. I don't want to re-sign with you guys. I don't want to re-sign with you guys. I'm going to be a free agent after this fight. Then the UFC would be insane to promote that fight heavily. And what it really looks like when you look at that particular fight, if you want to see what it looks like to really not promote a fight, then look at the undercard. Look at the undercard on that fight. Okay. There were guys when you looked at the disclosed, but there was nothing. You had Figueiredo and Moreno in their third fight, and that's it. There was not a single other person on that entire card that you had ever heard of. Nothing. There was nothing on that card, dude. There was a guy on the main card who was making 12 and 12. 12 and 12 on the main card. The dude who fought Alex Pereira. Okay. That was the night that Paella got into it with Francis at the hotel that I was at. When I told you guys, I saw them, and they were having a blast, dude. And then they woke up Francis, and apparently they got into it. But the dude who fought him made 12 and 12 for that fight on the main card. Okay. That's what it looks like if you don't want to promote a fight. Okay. So I don't know, and then here's the other thing. If you can go and you can see how much is UFC spending to promote this fight, and you see that they're spending a much lower than normal number, then that's one thing. But unless you have numbers like that, then this whole idea just doesn't make any sense to me, because in 2023, who is popular and who is marketable, it doesn't come down to who the champion is or whatever, right? Like, you can be the champion and it almost doesn't even affect how marketable you are. Do you know what I mean? Like, in certain cases, it does. Like, if you're Leon Edwards, as an example, and now you become the champion and you're a UK champion, then of course you're going to get the UK behind you. That's going to make a big difference for you. But there are plenty of other examples where, like, you win the title, it just doesn't even really matter, because that's not necessarily what's going to dictate how marketable you are. What's going to dictate how marketable you are is what you do outside the cage, the content that you put out. Why? Like, just ask yourself, why would people care about what you're doing right now? Why would people care about you in general? Like, what's your shtick? Okay. Being good at fighting, that's not it, dude. That's your entry into the door, is you have to be good enough to be in the UFC. That's why people will give you an opportunity to look at you and decide whether or not you're an interesting person for them to follow. Okay. Like, I mean, I don't even think I need to keep going back to like Stipe Miocic. Not only was he the champion, he knocked everyone out. Okay. He's a firefighter. He remains a firefighter while he is the UFC heavyweight champion. He has everything going for him, but he doesn't like doing media. He doesn't like talking on the microphone. He doesn't do anything to make himself interesting, and so he doesn't sell. Like, do you know what I mean? Where guys like Paddy Pimblett, who, I mean, no offense to him or anything, obviously, but like, if you look just, I mean, he's had some good performances. He's had some not great performances, but bottom line is people are going to watch every time he fights. Why? Because he's got a clever name? Because he's got a bowl haircut? No. Because he's made himself a fascinating character that people get tied to, whether they like him or they don't like him. They care about what he's doing. It doesn't matter if people like you or don't like you. They just need to be interested. Okay. So, like, honestly, it's like, if you go, you take the exact same marketing dollars, right? It costs the same amount of money, right, to fly a person with a microphone and his camera crew and whatever. You got a 3-person crew. They're going to go interview 2 guys, right? Cost the UFC the exact same amount. And the UFC is going to put 2 videos on the UFC YouTube, right? The marketing dollars are the same. And you go to one guy who's a champion, you go, so talk to me about this fight. It's like, well, I'm in the best shape of my life. I'm in the best shape of my life. I'm really ready. I know he's a really great challenge. Okay. All right. What does it mean to you? Well, I'm fighting for legacy here. Fighting for legacy. All right. Whose legacy? I'm fighting for my legacy, man. I'm fighting for my legacy, man. I really think I'm going to get it done this time. You're all cool. What are you doing today? I'm going to go run hills. I'm going to go run up the hill because I really need to make sure I get my cardio in shape because this guy, he's really tough. He's going to have good cardio. I want to make sure my cardio is in shape. All right. Cool. You have anything else going on that makes this special? Well, I just had a baby, I'm a new dad. So, I really want to make sure that I do the best for my child. It's like, oh, that's, we got a little spark there. Anything else you want to add to that? No, it's like, okay, where it's like, and then you go to the other guy who might not be as good of a fighter. And it's like, so tell me what you're fighting for. It's like, listen, man, I just had a baby. And let me tell you, growing up where I came from, I got stabbed 8 times before I was 19. 8 times. I should have been dead 6 of those times. I was on critical, you don't understand. There's no reason that I should be here. None. Other than that, God chose me to show people who are born in the gutter like I was, with no options, no parents. Doesn't matter if parents, you got no parents, you got no whatever. I am going to show you that you could do anything that you put your mind to. This is all I do. My entire life is fighting. And I am focused on being the best in the world because I know that that is what I was born to do. Today, I'm going to go batter 11 guys in the gym, not because I don't like them, but because I need to do that to sharpen myself to fight this animal that I'm fighting on Saturday. This guy is a killer, but I'm a killer. I'm a killer. You don't want to be in the octagon with me when blah, 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 right? Talk to me about your son. Listen, dude, listen. I didn't have a dad, okay? So when I tell you that I'm doing this for my son, what I mean is I think about every single traumatic thing that I went through, okay? When I was a kid, I had babysitters that threw me against the wall. There was a video that we found of a babysitter that threw me into a wall when I was 3 years old. There's a dent in the wall. They threw me into a wall, man. You ever seen one of those? That's what I was. I had no one who cared about me. Not one person gave a single solitary F about me when I was growing up. And I think about that. I look at my baby and I go, for every person that didn't care about me, I'm going to care about this kid times 100. This is going to be a kid that has every opportunity that I didn't have. And I'm going to earn that through blood, sweat, and tears on these fucking hands, dude. On these hands. I'm going to make it happen for him, whatever. Which one of those guys are you going to care about? Listen, I'm doing it for me, or fuck it, this guy, and that's just talking, much less actually doing things that make you interesting. Here's the thing about the just Russian culture in general. I have never met a person from Eastern Europe that I didn't get along with. That's a true story. I say that all the time, and it has remained true. And it's because culturally they are allergic to bullshit. Okay. And as much as a person who doesn't really understand people, anybody who's even 1% emotional intelligence will look at me and go, yeah, I can understand why people think this is a guy who's full of shit. But if you actually are really listening and paying attention, he never says anything he doesn't mean, ever. I'm not going to tell you I think you did a good job if you didn't do a good job. I'm not going to say I did a good job if I think I did a bad job. I don't do that shit. Okay. I make jokes, whatever, but I will always tell you what I actually think. That's why people trust me, because I earn it from them, because I always say what I think. Eastern Europeans, that is their whole culture. They're going to give it to you straight. They're going to tell you what they think. They're going to be honest, and they're not going to fake a bunch of shit, right? You almost have to pull emotion out of them, right? And, and this is obviously not the same across the board, but the Muslim fighters, they have strict religious principles that they live by, whether religious or not, just principles that they live by. And I have immense respect for that. Immense respect for that. Now, that doesn't make you marketable, though. That doesn't make you marketable. If you're thinking about the broader public, think Dunsky. You have to be able to compact a reason someone cares about you into a 1-minute TikTok video. Do you know what I mean? As stupid as that sounds, it's true. It's true. Think about Khabib, okay? Khabib is from Dagestan. He's from the same place as Islam, right? And if you try to think of all of the things that Khabib had done, even before fighting Conor, that you could take and compact into a 1-minute TikTok video that would go viral because it was interesting, it was endless. It was endless. Khabib was brilliant at marketing himself and marketing fights. He understood the game, right? Him getting on the microphone and saying, Ireland 8 million, Russia 100 million. I want your chicken. I want your chicken. That's playing the game. That's not a bullshit move. That's just playing the game. That's doing what you have to do. It's about understanding what's going to drive outcomes. And that's one of the things that I live by. It's like, if I do this, what is the outcome? Like, what's the outcome going to be? If someone breaks my balls if someone starts making videos like, screw Jesse on fire, he is dirt. Okay. Most people, they get emotional and then they're like, oh, really? Well, you know what? Screw that guy. And they get on the camera and they're all, you know what? This guy's talking trash. What does he know about me? He doesn't know anything about me or me. It's like, all right, well, what's going to happen next? So if you do that, right, you're mad. It's natural. Someone talked trash about you. What's going to happen next? It's like, all right, well, he's going to make another video about you. You want to keep doing that? Have you paid attention to what kind of fans that he has? Like, what are they going to do? If you start attacking him, what are they going to do? Okay. So, and I'm using that as just one of a billion examples. Like, I don't just do shit. Outcomes. Khabib, outcomes. He's not betraying his principles by kicking Tony Ferguson's, belt off the stage. He's playing the game because he knows the outcome is that's a visual bite that people will share around to promote the fight. Okay. The UFC didn't spend extra money to have Khabib kick the fucking belt off the stage. That's Khabib playing the game. That's Khabib being exceptional at promoting fights. So this is not meant as a knock on Islam. It's meant as a challenge to all fighters who use this line that are like, the UFC is not promoting me. Nonsense. Promote yourself. It's 2023. You have 1,000 ways to do it. And the UFC will take the attention that you have built for yourself and turn it into a monster event. They're not creators. This is actually, you know what? This is what it is. The UFC is gasoline. They are not a match and kindling. Okay. They're not a match and kindling. So think about it like this. This is the same metaphor as what investors look for in entrepreneurial efforts, right? So you're trying to raise money from a venture capital firm. You come in with a slide deck. You're all, listen, this is who I am. This is our idea. We're going to build this thing. And here are our financial projections. We're going to make $1 billion. They're like, okay, we like your idea, but whatever. And you just won't get money. They'll just keep going. Yeah, we'll call you. It just keeps on not happening. And the person who has taken their idea, they've on a bootstrap budget built something to where money is coming in, and they've proven that their idea works. That is a small fire. It's like, oh, all right. They've proven. And then the venture capitalist comes in and they give you money and you throttle it. You use that to market. You throttle it. That's the gasoline that's thrown on the fire. You have to create. The UFC can throw as much gasoline on a campsite, with the rocks and if there's no fire, nothing happens. They could pour tons and tons and tons and tons of gasoline on it. If there's no fire, it's irrelevant. You have to create the fire. You have to be the person. You have to be the fire yourself, and then they will pour the gasoline on it to throttle it. It's not their job to create the fire because they can't if they wanted to. That's not how it works. They're not fire starters. They're gasoline. God, that's such a good point, dude. I'm so fucking good at this. It's unreal. I built my own fire, son. I built my own fire with grit, determination, and this is what you see right here. I made my own gasoline. No one poured gasoline for me. Just wait till someone does. And now me and Guru together, the two guys that built our own fires, are going to combine them, and it's going to be a nuclear fucking bomb. And that starts on Friday. So get ready for that. Okay? Get ready for that. Get ready for that. That's what I got. Peace.